Morning, Sophie. Looks like it snowed overnight. And good morning to all of you too. Give me a second and I'll let you know the topic today. Good morning. Today is just a day in my life when you're retired and it's winter in Canada. So I am getting my morning tea together and I am heading out the door. It is 5:20 a.m. It has snowed overnight, but not so bad that I need to shovel before I head out. I just need to brush off the car and it's running right now. Love the auto starts in the new cars. And my daughter just had a brand new baby and this is her third, so I am going to be going over there every morning to get the older two up and breakfast and dressed and drop them at school. And then I will be seeing if there's any errands I can run for my daughter. And then I will be coming back and maybe crawling back in bed. I wouldn't normally do that, but the last few nights I've been up half the night because I'm so worried I'm going to sleep through my alarm. And so that's ineffective. We'll see how I feel once I get back. But anyway, it is minus 15 out, which isn't too bad for 5:30 in the morning. And we'll see what the day has ahead of me. So I'm going to be heading out the door here in the dark still. So let's see. It's looking pretty blustery out. The wind is high and there's some snow. Geez, it's freezing actually. So wish me luck. We'll see how slippery the roads are. The drive between my place and my daughter's place has farmers' fields on either side of it, and when the winds are high, you can get whiteouts and you cannot see in front of you, but you also can't pull over because there is nowhere to pull over. It's very dangerous, and it's only a 3-kilometer strip. That's the worst. Before that, there are places to pull over, but there's 3 kilometers where there's nowhere to pull over, and it can be very terrifying. But let's hope that's not today. Oh my goodness. So I'm going around to where my cart is parked, and it is pretty bad. You will see. There's a pretty bumpy walk. Don't like it this early in the morning because of the coyotes, but I'm thinking that the coyotes probably are not hunting right now, so they're probably somewhere in the forest hiding. Anyway, I'm off to take care of my grandsons and I'll be back in a little while. I was there from 5:30 until 8:30. So it's kind of hard to go back to bed when you've been awake for 3 hours running around doing lots of stuff. So instead I'll make myself another cup of tea, and I'm a real big fan of loose leaf tea. But I have to say, lately the loose leaf tea, which is expensive, is my little luxury. But lately the loose leaf tea hasn't even been loose leaf. I'm not impressed with the latest quality. I get my tea at Hamley's, and this is a Ceylon tea that's similar to a breakfast tea. It's called Chenoweth, and it's really nice. But, normally when I put my tea leaves into a bowl like this, I don't get much dust. But already, like you can see, I am getting dust before I've even poured. I did read that in China, they reduce the dust by running the leaves under a little bit of cold water first. you don't want the tap to run too aggressively or it'll spill the leaves out. But I did find that that is helpful to do that, to get rid of a little bit of the dust. But I'm just finding there's a lot more dust, almost like the stuff that would be in tea bags. And, you know, I'm finding even the quality of the tea in tea bags these days, even the tea bags can't hold the dust in. So that's when you know you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of, you know, the last of the product. So I'm going to mention it next time I'm at Hamley's and see if other people have been commenting on that. Maybe it's just a bad batch, we'll see. I also picked up from Hamley's last time I was there, these two. I do not like the taste of ginger, but I have all this inflammation in my body right now. And so I picked up some ginger tea. It's a herbal. And to be honest with you, it's kind of weird looking. I'll show you what it looks like. It's a little weird looking, but the leaves are, well, it's not leaves, it's ginger. It's actually much thicker and chunkier, and that does not get out of the tea bottle, which is good. And I'll make a ginger tea in the afternoon and put a little honey in it. And even though I can't stand the taste of ginger in meals, like particularly in Asian meals, it really turns me off, the smell and the taste of ginger. But it actually isn't that bad. I mean, I'll only have one tea, but it isn't that bad. The other green tea I picked up, I haven't tried yet. It's a pomegranate, goji berry, blueberry. But, oh, it smells so good. It's got such a strong smell to it that when I come in the house, even though it's in the cupboard, I can smell it. So these are my treats to myself. I don't drink. So I don't have anything in my budget that goes towards alcohol. I'm not a smoker. And so I figure I can, that's my little vice, is my loose leaf tea. So I'm going to make myself a cup of tea. And then I will end up settling down at the computer because I have some work to catch up on with my blog. And with this YouTube channel, I have some administrative work to catch up on. I did have to shovel the walk when I came back in, which has been a challenge for me because I got an injury about a month ago and I really haven't been able to pick up a shovel in a month. But I did end up being able to do that today. I am getting slowly better, but the progress is so incredibly slow. I do know that, you know, groin and glute injuries can take a lot longer to heal. And so I'm going to make this cup of tea. I will sit down at the computer. So one chore that I have, which I'm not going to do today because of my groin injury, is you can see this is my backyard with all the snow. And those bird feeders normally would have another 2 feet to their poles, but right now they're buried in snow. And there's my patio table. So you can see the snow goes all the way up to the edge of the patio table, and then there's another 2 feet, 1.5 to 2 feet of snow on top of the patio table. So for those of you who want the metric conversion, 30 centimeters is 1 foot. Now my problem is that this patio table is made out of a tiled tabletop of stone tiles. And I'm worried that the tiles are cracking under the weight of the snow. If I was feeling better, I would trudge out. And that's not that easy because that is, I'll step a little further back, 3 feet of snow to walk through, but the bottom 2 feet will be crusty and hard. But you could potentially drop down as you make each step. Some steps you'll stay up high and other steps you'll drop down. And I can't afford to have that happen with my problems right now. So Moving along, it is now afternoon. I've showered, I've had a bit of a break, worked on my computer, and now it's time for me to practice my singing because I belong to a choir and we have new songs to practice. 14 of them. It's a new season for us, and so this is what I do every day for about 45 minutes. Our choir leader puts all of our parts onto Dropbox, and we use that to rehearse. I don't know how to read music, but that's never stopped me to be a part of this choir. I just sing the songs over and over and over and over until I've got them down pat. And I'm learning a little bit about reading music, but I'm not too interested in learning. So it's a bit of a slow growth there. But I really enjoy the choir. So I'm out for my afternoon walk, and this is probably my favorite time because a lot of people are at work and the kids are all at school, so it's really quiet. And I don't know, it just feels like there's a whole different world that exists during the day than exists at night and on the weekends. And when you're out during the day as a retired person, or even as somebody who works shifts, you feel the difference in culture between the people who are around the neighborhoods in the daytime and those in the evening. In the evening, it's frantic and it's louder, and people are less kind to one another. And basically, they're in their own zone. And even if they're not being unkind to you, they just disregard you. It's like they decide that they're going to function in a world where they'll pretend that nobody else is around. Whereas I find during the day, everybody's moving a little less frantically and they're all looking up and they interact with one another and it feels like a community. I don't think the night and weekend people intend to do it. And in fact, I was probably like that too when I was working full time. But boy, is there a difference. And that's one of the things I love most about being retired is that the people that I run into in my world as I go out and about during the day are so much more um, interactive with one another. They see each other. So I don't know if you can see it, but well, you can't really see anything past those hedges, but there's actually a frozen lake behind that. And then behind that, there is a city. You might just be able to pick up the odd ice fishing hut on the lake. That's all you can see because it's snowing out. And so the snow makes everything just kind of a white world beyond that. Behind me, a really nice group of trees that have a lot of snow. The trees are pretty at this time of year. You can see with the tracks, somebody's taken their snowmobile through this little group of trees. So life kind of has to slow down when the snow is out. Doesn't mean that we stop going, but for me in retirement, I don't have to be anywhere, so I'm not going to. Today, the roads were really slippery, and on the radio, they were listing car accident after car accident, and it just seemed like such a mess. Two different intersections in the probably 8 kilometer drive to my daughter's this morning. On the way back at two different intersections, somebody went right through the intersection. They were braking, but their car wouldn't stop, so they just had to keep going. And fortunately, you anticipate that just because you have a green doesn't mean it's safe to go yet. You want to definitely check and make sure that the people who now have a red actually are capable of stopping before you head out. So anticipating the green at this time of year when the weather is bad is never a good thing to do. But on a day like today, it just, I don't have to be anywhere. So that's the beauty. I love it. And I know that, I have a couple of kids who work remotely, and boy, what a gift that is when you live in a location like we do. It is such a gift because if I was still teaching, I actually taught in a different city than where I lived. And it would have been a lot of white knuckle draws. I'm so glad I'm not working this year and last year. I just passed a woman who was walking two corgis, and they're so low to the ground that they were, the trench of snow on the laneway was almost as tall as they were. I asked her if they love the snow, and she said they do love the snow, but they don't love it when salt is put down instead of sand because it gets into their paws and cracks their paw pads. And then she said you can tell on the days where their paws are sore because they're having a hard time stepping. The salt must be stinging inside the cracks of their paw pads. We always had that problem too with our dogs. And you can get these booties. You'll see a lot of people with the booties on their dogs, but if the snow's more than a couple inches deep, it can end up, they can lose their booties in the snow and you'll never find it. And then you don't even know until you get home, and then you see that somewhere along your route, your dog lost their booties. The other thing is some dogs, like our golden Doodle, she hated wearing the booties, so she wouldn't walk normally when she had the booties on. She was doing a kick step because she felt awkward in them and was trying to kick off the booties. So booties can be a real problem, but it is a challenge for dogs throughout our winters. As I go about my walk through the neighborhood, somebody's got a wood burning fireplace. So you can have that lovely smell of the wood burning. So many people have switched to gas burning fireplaces because it's so much more convenient and it's efficient, and I get that. But having people with wood burning fireplaces still, it really has a feeling of nostalgia that comes across as you're out walking in winter and you're smelling that smell. It reminds me of all the years growing up when we were out with, and there would be campfires. It's a lovely feeling and something you can easily miss when you're involved in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. These are all the little pleasures that you can experience when your world isn't in a frantic rush at all times anymore. It's the whole slowing down to smell the roses concept. It really is quite a gift. So now it's time for me to do my yoga, and normally I would get changed into yoga gear because I would do a full and complete workout, not just with my yoga, but also with my dumbbells and doing exercising, and I have an exercise bike also in the room. But right now, since I'm in recovery mode, it is going to be very gentle stretching, very minimal exercises, and just, a little bit of range of motion stuff. You can see behind me I have a chest, and on that is my TV, so I'll probably watch some YouTube while I'm doing this. And I'm pointed out, my view is to look out in the backyard because there is a bunny rabbit that comes by every once in a while and looks in to visit me. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. Well, we're beginning to lose our light as the sun goes down, not as early as it was in December when it was dark at 4. Now the light is sticking around till about 5:30. But you can see in the living room that the light is turning a little dim, and it is still snowing outside. Today was a quiet day. It is not a representation of every single day in my retired life. If this was a day, if this was every day in my retired life, I would not enjoy that. It would be too quiet a life for me. But over the winter months, I am learning that there is less opportunity for me, and what I need to do is make friends with the quiet time. So I hope you enjoyed following me around today of a day in my quiet life in the winter. It is still snowing outside. It has been snowing all afternoon. And as you can see, I am now sitting by my gas fireplace. I have my ginger and honey tea with me. I'm going to call up a book on Cloud Library on my iPad and enjoy doing some reading for about 45 minutes. And then after that, after I make my supper, I will probably settle down in front of the TV for a quiet evening of entertainment. If you enjoyed this video, please check out my playlist. I have many videos loaded up now covering a wide range of topics, all the topics that somebody at this age and stage in life might be interested in. I talk about money, health and fitness, aging, home design, travel, winter blues, friendship. So lots of topics. If there's something I haven't covered and you're interested, drop me a note in the comments. Please also check out my blog. I have a blog by the same name. They are not replicas of my videos, so I might talk about complementary topics. And we'll see you next time.